Hi, I'm Bruce Bauer. I'm a scientist with NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. I specialize in paleoclimatology, which is the study of past climate change.
What are tree cores?
When you see the cross section of a tree, you can see its rings. They sometimes are difficult to see when it's just been cut with a saw. So the scientists would take sandpaper and smooth that off, and that way you'd be able to see the ring structure better and measure and count the rings and measure their widths. Because the tree sample that I just showed you was a tree that was cut down and killed, we don't want to do that for every time we take a sample. So we have a hand drill that will take a small pencil-like piece out of the tree trunk, and that pencil wound on the tree will not kill the tree. It is a small injury, and it will heal that wound, just like when we scrape our knee, we heal up. So the tree can heal, but it can still tell us how old it is, and it can still tell us how much it grew each year. And we can take these pencil-like samples back to the laboratory, and they will be glued onto a mount so that they don't break. They will then be sanded down so that you can see the ring structures. The rings can be very narrow in trees that grow slowly. They can be only a few hundredths of a millimeter. So the rings can be truly tiny. So you need to prepare the samples very smooth in order to be able to see the rings and mount them to keep them from breaking. Then they're put on a movable stage microscope and slowly moved across the field of view. And each time a new ring boundary comes under the center of the microscope cross-hatching, a button will be pushed to measure how far the tree ring was moved. So we can actually measure the width of the ring. And this is done hundreds of times, sometimes even thousands of times, depending on how old the tree is. And we would gather samples from 10 or 20 trees in a general area and take all these measurements and average them together, because occasionally one tree might have been injured in a storm, might have lost a limb, and it might affect its growth. So we take the average growth over a stand of trees, and then that average growth is compared to the instrumental weather records for the time they overlap, which could be maybe 100 to 150 years. And then if there's a good match in the overlap between the ring width patterns and the measured weather patterns, then we can say, yes, these trees are telling us about past climate, and we can use the rest of the tree ring growth period before instrumental records to tell us what was happening in that area. So if we have, say, trees that are 500 years old in the Western United States, they might tell us which periods have been drought prone and which periods have been wetter in the history of North America. We have actually recently received data from the sequoia trees in Sierra Nevada of California that are over 2,000 years old. And they were used to reconstruct moisture, and in particular snowpack, because most of the moisture in the Sierra Nevada comes in the wintertime in the form of snow. And the giant sequoia trees grow better in the years where they get more moisture, and they grow poorly in the years that are drought years, where they don't get much snowfall in the wintertime. So they're producing a history of snowfall in the area they grow in for 2,000 years.